This will be provocative, to say the least. I've only watched a couple of minutes of it. It's already off to a very poke in the eye start. Redacted. If you still trust the party, I can't deal with you, with Kurt Metzger. Kurt Metzger is so unapologetically honest. I love the guy. You'd thank him for calling you an arsehole, because it'd pull you up from being an arsehole. I'm just going to let this go. Why? Look, if you still trust the party, I can't deal with you. And I'm kind of that way myself. Right, if you're still stuck on that hamster wheel, you're damaged beyond repair. You can't. I don't think you can be fixed. There's no coming back here. I'm sad about that. Right?
Kurt Metzger is an acclaimed comedian and writer, one of my favorite independent voices in geopolitics. Not only does he have a measured take, but he usually has a funny take, which is needed. You may have seen him on the Jimmy Dore Show, other independent shows. Now, I invited you on Redacted because I wanted to meet you, most of all, but what I hope my listeners will take away from this is some camaraderie in independent thinking and maybe a fun time. So thank you for your time. We're not going to discuss anything really specific, but we're going to talk about how we keep sanity and humor in this dark time right now. So nice to meet you.
Yeah, I am a very dignified judge. I don't know how to change my bottom thing, but we're just going to say, because it's supposed to be at, but we're just going to say it's a tribute to Bibi Netanyahu. That was Mike's idea, or Dave's idea, excellent idea. Danger Yahoo is...
That was your Zoom login. Yeah, we won't see that. Don't worry.
Oh, nice.
Don't worry.
I was afraid. I'm looking at it and I'm like, am I going to have to explain this? Danger Yahoo?
No,
you don't have
to. Okay, but everyone else now knows how to get a hold of you on Zoom if they want to.
Yeah, at Dangerment Yahoo.
Okay, should you want to. Also, I assume that the Jelani is satire behind you.
What? This guy?
Yeah.
He's a tough guy with a tough background, I'll tell you that much.
So, how are you? We're talking at the beginning of January. We are 1 year into the Trump administration.
Oh, man.
We have more war than ever. We have more debt than ever.
Yeah,
what did you
I
think
voted to take Greenland, so what I voted for was to kidnap the city president of Venezuela and kidnap Greenland. So promises made, promises kept.
Exactly right. And continue to bomb Somalia at record numbers. Somalia.
I didn't even know it was on the table to stop bombing Somalia, but now that you told me, I'm glad he's keeping that promise too. Yeah, it's real weird, huh? This guy, this should make, I don't understand anybody is like, in the military, if you got your... Am I allowed to swear on here or no?
You can swear.
Well, if you got your dick blown off... If you got your dick blown off in the war, in Iraq, fighting ISIS and Al-Qaeda, why are we friends with them now? And why would Petraeus sit down and have a lovey-dovey thing with this guy who, if you look in his vacant eyes, I would say is clearly some kind of Manchurian candidate. I mean, that's certainly what Osama was. He was like, I think... was like the guy that shot Reagan, Hinckley, from the Sinclair family. I think it's just these rich families give up a child to be a chosen one. And they do things for the family that need to be done, like being a fake whatever. But just, that should tell you it's true, just the fact that Trump's shaking. This guy's in the Daniel Pearl video. In all likelihood, I think he's definitely there. But let's leave a little room.
That's Osama bin Laden,
He's a founding member of ISIS.
I reckon actually he's Osama.
After that, I don't want to hear from anybody else about terror ever again. What is going on?
I mean, the thing is, our show sort of got going during the Biden administration, and that was so comical that we thought, well, can't do any worse, and so we aligned ourselves. Yeah, and so I think that the American right really sees Redacted as a right-wing show, and then the Trump administration part 2 got started. And we have more war than ever. We have more debt. We have, sort of these distractions around ICE raids and things like that, which I don't think are actually the agenda of the powerful. And so then people are confused. Like, wait, are we right or left? We're neither, really. And that is a weird place because...
That's where you're supposed to be, unless you're stupid. Listen, unless you're stupid, or you're in on it. You should not be on right or left. Now, the majority of people are cows, so that's why they're. And when I watch, this is why Ben Shapiro I find like one of the most despicable people I've ever seen on anything. Right after, when the JFK stuff, remember when he was like, "Don't worry about JFK," so we know for sure Israel's involved.
Yeah.
That's how we know Israel's involved. I've never even thought that until I watched him say, "Get over it." Oh, Ben, should we get over things that happened a long time ago? No, you don't say. Anyway, he goes, this Marcia goes, conspiracies, that used to be the left, but it wasn't in the right. And the right needs to move away from conspiracies, and the left, so that is get back in your pen, all the livestock back into your pens where you belong, and anybody trying to, on Jimmy we covered when Rogan said, because Rogan gets attacked all the time, he doesn't care, but Jimmy will get upset when he's like, because Rogan goes, everybody gets to get past left and right. He said that on one of his, and you can tell who's no good by who was against that.
Yeah.
So, that ain't it, pal. All the morons on Twitter, they're, I don't know, getting Cliphouse bounties. That ain't it, pal. Screw the midterms. I don't understand how anybody could worry about that after this Epstein thing. Your governor traffics kids on behalf of Pax Judaica. That's literally a term. It's gonna get real weird, man. And like Greenland thing started it, and the Venezuela thing is all right, I'm getting off on a tangent. But Professor John, have you had him yet?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, on my show, he made this prediction. It's not my prediction; it's his prediction. It sounds weird, but then I was like, he said he thinks that Maduro is a CIA asset the whole time from the previous administration. And Trump's blowing, and he's in on being kidnapped because they took him and his wife. I realize when I think about it, they took them both. Yeah. And so Trump's disrupting whatever that old op was, and this guy's going to testify when they come on trial that the DNC and the CIA and whoever else had Venezuela rig the 2020 election in some way. Bringing in migrants. Now, that was far-fetched, except I remember them saying among the nonsense fentanyl and nonsense cocaine charges and all the other nonsense, and they probably rigged the 2020 election. I was like, wait, what? Where's this coming from? I never heard that Venezuela rigs our election. But I bet it's with flooding the immigrants in,
Yeah, that does make sense. My experience is that I was left-wing, and then when I started this show and had to do all the research for myself because I was no longer in the mainstream media, I began to detest the American left. I felt more comfortable among the right. Now I do see that the right, a large faction of them, are willing to criticize the Trump administration in the way the left will not do for their leaders. So I find that progress. But on war and government expansion, the two things that hurt American the most, they are aligned. They are the same. And so if you're playing this, like, I care about welfare, I care about abortion, you're a tool. You're a use.
Let's just think on that for a second. I say about left and right hemisphere, left and right hemisphere politics, one side's logic, the other side's artistic, libertarianist. Yeah. I'm more inclined to put on nowadays, well, that is a thing, but left wing. Like, they literally in your face call it left wing or right wing. What are they attached to? A bird. Birds of a feather flock together. Hello? Anyway, get back to the show. When you put it like that. Yeah.
Full idiot. And that's my experience. What's yours?
Yeah, well, exactly what he said. I mean, Jimmy says it all the time. It's a good quote. Whoever you vote for, you get John McCain.
Yeah, that feels like it.
But, I mean, when did you go from Jehovah to a leftist, though? That's the transition. How did you become a leftist? Do you think
that that's not normal? Okay, I guess because...
No, it could. No, it is. People, a lot of Mormons do. I mean, it's not abnormal at all. I definitely was, like, liberal, I would say. I lived in New York 20 years. So.
Yeah, so we have this in common. Both of us were raised Jehovah's Witness and left at around 20 years old. And that's a very specific experience because I think that's every time I mention this on the show, I get comments of people who either were Jehovah's Witnesses or know somebody who they couldn't either get out or lost a loved one. So people feel very strongly about this. And I think a lot of times when you break down the religion that you're born with, you do so because of a liberal education. That was my experience. College.
Art Institute. Yeah, I went to Art Institute.
Right. And then you become an anarchist. And now I find myself needing to research back into my biblical education to understand Christian Zionism, and I'm wondering what baby I threw out in the bathwater. And so this is my like full circle. It's not that I want to be a Jehovah's Witness again. It's like, what was there some, because the Jehovah's Witnesses criticized the World Economic Forum and the United Nations before that was popular. They talked about not sending your kids to liberal education before that was popular. And I'm like, what did they know? So that's where I find myself now.
Here's what they knew. Charles Day. Okay, so
tell me.
I mean, that Rutherford guy is kind of the Roy Kroc of McDonald's of it more than I think Chase Russell. Without getting into all the things with him, here's what they're right about. I say if somebody asks, I always call it a cult, but I don't mean cult how probably people think of cults. I consider a cult like a religion where you like have to do it.
It's not a cult. A cult is a brand new thing started by a brand new person. So like if Heaven's Gate. A sect is a spin-off of an existing doctrine. So Jehovah's Witnesses are a sect of Christianity.
Well, we're getting rid of all the words, and we're going to just a few words, and the 1984 map from the book 1984. So forget that, what you just said. Just forget about it. Okay. Now, they don't go to war. So, and in fact, when Richard Grove, I don't know if you're Richard Grove from Grand Theft World podcast, who really put me on to all these things that you're talking about, he sent me Tragedy and Hope by Carol Quigley. He sent me the original Tragedy and Hope by Carol Quigley, Bill Clinton's mentor. It explains the entire plot of England to get America back in the fold by Cecil Rhodes of the Cecil Rhodes Roundtables and Lord Milner. They're all these stinking English. It's their like little soft power nonsense. But Tragedy and Hope. Carol Quigley was given cosmic level clearance to go to the archives, as Doug Murray calls them. You haven't been to the archives. Well, this guy went to the archives. He's a respected polymath from Georgetown. That's the one Clinton said is my mentor, blah, blah, blah. So he wrote this book, and he was on the side of the New World Order. He was completely on their side. He was like, this is a great plan. We should tell everybody we're doing this. And he didn't know they didn't want people knowing they were doing this. And he realized it much later. But if you read Anthony Sutton, Richard Grove sent me that one, the Wall Street and the Nazi, I can't remember. All the Anthony Sutton book, the Anglo-American World Power, is either Quigley or Anthony Sutton. They're all in there. It's like the dry skeleton of the conspiracy or real world. There's nothing with aliens or anything. It's literally these round tables of British PDF files who go to other countries to so South Africa, the inventor of apartheid, Cecil Rhodes, that piece of shit. You know what a scumbag that guy was? He's the worst. He's the absolute worst, and he's the reason we have this stupid NATO setup and all this bullshit. I mean, he's obviously probably a puppet like they all are, but it's just British soft power is where this came from. You can see they're demolishing Europe right now. That's I like to think of it like private equity has extracted whatever they're going to take out, and the king's good, and we're going to not even be a country no more. They clearly hate their own people, right? And that's what that is. But here in America, we're going to do that North American hemisphere thing from the Techno State book by Brzezinski.
Yeah. And so are you saying that these apocalyptic Christian denominations
I'll go further than Jay.
From okay, because I have recently been studying Cyrus Schofield, who brought...
Jay's good on that. Dyer, you got him on?
Yes, he is. And I've been reading the book called Schofield and His Book or something like that. Mm-hmm. It was John Nelson Darby, the dispensationalist from England, who brought his faith over to the United States. And it's a whole... It was born around the same time as Jehovah's Witnesses. We call them apocalyptic Christianity.
Okay, so that's up in Albany. That's like the tech sector.
Yes.
Of new weird cults or sects. And then they come down what's called the psychic corridor, because this is the age of spiritualism and psychic. It's called the psychic corridor, where all those come out. And the Mormons come out of there, and
Yes.
Seventh-day Adventists, and all the things. So
The Niagara Falls conventions were.
I'm just going to cut to the
Yep.
chase and skip a whole. And it's going to sound cuckoo what I'm saying, but I'm just going to tell you real quick. All of these things are stupid Harry Potter wizard schools, and the final initiation is to invent a goddamn religion. All of them. So when Jay was telling you, he's right about everything he said, but I'm just going to take a little further than Jay, because this is what I found since I started looking at it, is that stupid OTO and Golden Dawn and all, and this is not in that Tragedy and Hope book. Now, that's the secular part of the conspiracy. If you want the spiritual part, read Alice Bailey, what do you call it? Externalization of the hierarchy. And it sounds just like, it sounds like a goofy New Age version of what's in Tragedy and Hope. And so they got to get rid of. So, by the way, Christianity is not a good religion for rulers. It never has been. There has never been a Christian nation on the earth, ever, other than Christians who actually practice the religion they say they're in. But America is not Christian. America is the land of the blue serpent, Amaru. America is based on Amaru, a Peruvian serpent god. Just so everybody knows, that's a fact. It's not based on Amerigo changed his name to sound like that. That's a cult. And that's what your leaders worship. So TPUSA, all Luciferian. If you're a Mormon, now, I know a lot of great Mormons I like a lot, okay, that are not wizards as far as I know or they know. Those are the cattle. It hides a coven. The Freemasons are a coven. Do you understand? Intel, the CIA is a coven. We get it from John D. This is all British wizard bullshit. All of it. And so
do you think that it's with the explicit intent of controlling people?
Yes. Well,
But
New
for
Atlantis. This is
political
Atlantis.
aim or
Total control. Gore Vidal, if you watch this great documentary called United States of Amnesia that you can see for free on YouTube, Gore Vidal, there's a quote, he goes, "The goal of every society is total control." And he's exactly right. And that's what the goal has always been. And it goes back a long way. I would tell everybody to watch Windows on the World channel. This guy, Mark Windows from Britain, he's got a great video called Ancient Egyptian Crowd Control. And it's all about this corrupt priest class, and they have these stupid puppet pharaohs that are dressed like idiots, and they're inbred until their heads are too long. And they're basically have OCD all day, because they...
Hang on. I'll take some notes. I'm going to watch these. Yeah. What was the other one? What was it? Egyptian... When you write Egyptian in cursive, one takes on a new form. It's a tricky looking word when you write it in cursive. Yeah, I write cursive. I can't do block letters. I've kind of stopped doing that in grade 3.
Prepare for their afterlife all day while the priests run things.
Cursive.
They tie you up with nonsense and allegory, right? When you die in the afterlife and you see the ferryman with the dog head and you say, how big is the... All this like Monty Python-esque absolute bullshit. That's how they controlled Egypt. And everybody... And the polytheism is almost like you got to pay a bunch of gangs all day long.
yeah.
Monotheism is really just consolidating. Consolidating. That's what I think Akhenaten was, that they always say, he had a long head. According to Mark Windows, he probably didn't. He probably wanted you to think he did, because they wanted to emulate these older demigods to their people. But what pissed off the priests is, he goes, we're just going to worship the sun god, who I guess I'm the son of or whatever. But he's doging their religions, and they didn't want that. Just like they want Elon doging the real... If you look at it in economics terms, it's like real simple, and we've never gotten rid of that. And we've never gotten rid of that. It's like a 4-class system, right?
Yeah.
It was like priests, kings, artisans, peasants, I guess. And there is no... That's the only government there's everywhere. It's all everywhere. Whatever they say your government is, you can see what it is.
Tens of thousands of people in Sydney are holding a protest against Israel's war on Gaza.
It was the protest that brought Sydney to a standstill.
They say 90,000 people took part in today's Gaza protest.
In numbers far exceeding organisers' expectations.
Hang on a sec. This should open up a new thing. Yeah. I'm just going to come back and watch that after. Well, we want to know what it's about.
So do you think that it is an organized darkness, or
It's a dialectic. It's the dialectic, that stupid commie.
Now, going back to where he said that Christian faith has never worked out too well for governments in control because it's anti-government. True Christianity is anarchy with governance. And law. You can get rid of a whole bunch out of that too, by the way. I'm not, right, that's why I'm not a Bible thumper. I read it, yeah, there's shitloads of good advice in there. There's also a lot of non-relevant stuff. There's contradictory stuff in there. This is why I follow the man, not the plan. I'm the man of the faith, not the man of the religion. Right? Faith has never worked out too well for governments. Faith in Christ. Which is why I think you'll find Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X actually got along really well. And they merely, although they only ever met once for one official meeting that I know of, and almost united the entire world against government. That's why they had to go. They almost fucking won the world back.
Shit that Hegel loved, where you know, opposing forces, unity of opposites.
Mm-hmm.
That all comes from alchemy.
Yeah.
And Hegel was an alchemist and a wizard and all that stupid crap. And so it's very eugenicsy. It's like survival of the fittest. So we bash heads, and whoever comes out on top, we move incrementally forward. Alchemically speaking, that's what all these guys have found in America and in England. They were all into that, and that's why everything is always like that. That's why that checkerboard symbology. That's why you only get two parties, right? The checkerboard, and they've done these studies. When you only think in binary, your brain does less work, so it reserves energy. Human brains are very expensive, right? That's why you got to eat a lot. Whenever I'm writing for a show, I'm eating carbs all the fucking day, because I get more tired from that than physical labor.
Because it's exhausting. You think of this naturally through a partisan lens. Let's just use the example of the woman who was shot in Minneapolis by an ICE agent, and how two different parties were seeing this completely different. It was almost like one of those, if you see the woman shadow here, then you're right-brained or something. It was like a
that's it. Yeah, that's a very well, and that's why it's set up that way. Oh, by the way, you know the street she died on, right? It was 33rd Street. Oh, I don't know why I gotta see it.
Here.
I know it sounds like I'm making it up. I hope that I am wrong, and I hope a eagle-eyed viewer will be like, Kurt, that's ridiculous. It wasn't 33rd Street, and I will be glad to hear it. But as far as I know, it is. Anyway, never mind that woman. That's the one that's the paid influencers by ICE are pushing around, like that stupid Nick Shirley, you know, that virgin Mormon boy journalist.
Yes.
Yeah, which is a construct, an absolute construct, and absolute nonsense. Just like Bob Woodward came out of Navy Intel, and his first story is Watergate. Same bullshit. And I would ask that kid about his Mormonism, because as I said, Mormon were founded by a warlock who uses it as cover. And if you understand how to read symbology, that's why every con man, tarot card reader, close-up magic, Vegas piece of shit I know loves Joseph Smith. Why would both they like him and people that never drank a cup of coffee like him? That doesn't make... Well, because it's like The Simpsons. It's something for everybody. Or it used to be Simpsons. Old Simpsons. Smart people can get it, and the cows can get it, right? The symbology, it's that they have all these secret code, all Freemason symbols in their temples.
Right.
Go watch so all these things are the same. They're all programming, and that partisan thing you called it, that's probably a nice secular way of talking about what I'm talking about. I gotta split your brain so that you can only see an either or, except about gender. By the way, there's a multiverse of gender. There's only two parties, and there's only left and right, but gender could be, so you see here's the psyop. You're going to sit there being confused about a thing that is binary.
Right.
And then you're going to, things that are complicated, you're going to go, are you left? Or are you loyal to MAGA? I watched imbeciles say this. Now, a lot of them I found out do these bounties, Cliphouse bounties, were being paid to use that wording. But no, why would anyone, Trump said, I'm loyal, I'm with you. Remember, he made fun of Hillary. I'm with her. He goes, I'm with you. So it's not, I was never loyal to Trump. He is supposed to be loyal to me, the voter. So you see how they jujitsu you so quickly? And now there's a rift within the right. No, a bunch of people aren't getting the promises kept that they needed to survive. So they don't have nothing really to do with left or right. MAGA's not really a thing. The important part of it was nobody can buy a house or health care. Anybody going to an emergency room, I suggest you tell them you don't have health care, even if you do. It will be cheaper. Certainly in Austin. So, is he fixing it? No. He's putting ISIS in charge of Syria on behalf of Bilbo, not a Jew who.
Right. Now, how do you talk to normies? Because I have
like a complete asshole.
Okay.
I'm not Christian. Listen.
We alienate well-intentioned people. That's what I do. Good. Hey, cattle, if you just, look, I want everybody to think of this if they think I'm out there. You all spent 12 years arguing if women have dicks or not. So shut up about that's crazy. We're way past that now, guys. We've lost the ancient science knowledge of if women have pee-pees or wee-wees. Right.
So I don't want to hear anything sounds crazy or schizo. You live in a moron country under the plume serpent, Amaru.
Now, I noticed that, some sort of leftist friends have noticed that I am disgruntled with the Trump administration, even though I stood against the Democrats. And so they're like, then we're aligned, right? Yeah, then we're aligned now because you're seeing this. And I'm like, well, yeah, this is like Obama's Kill Tuesdays. This is
why I'm not pleasant.
Right.
I'm not, a Christian would walk you through the 5 stages of grief of learning about the truth because it's hard to hear. But I'm not going to do that. I don't know all of you. I'm just going to blurt it in your face with a stupid outfit on. And then time will make my argument for me, and you'll remember my dumb outfit.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
I stole this from Michael Malice. Michael Malice does this. That's what I stole from. I stole the pipe from Scott Horton. Dressed up like an idiot
this
from
is
Malice.
how you make friends and influence people, is just scream truth all the time.
Well, I'm a clown for a living. So it's not like I start out respectable. I don't have no respectability to lose. So I don't care. And I've noticed the cage of that. So, for example, Scott Horton, who's great, by the way, his books are great. I mean,
Fantastic.
dead on. He's friends with my good friend Dave Smith, who I couldn't be more proud of my boy Davey Smith. He thinks 9/11 was not an inside job completely. And I mean vehemently. We got an argument outside a steakhouse, smoking his pipe like this. That's right. And he tells me, he goes, I have a blind spot for anything really, like Bohemian Grove or something. He's like, who cares if they do that? Well, I wouldn't care if they do that, but they're telling me they're trad, Christian fundamentalists, but they actually go in the woods and do a ceremony to get rid of their conscience for the year because, they're all mass murderers and I guess apparently deeply gay. So I don't have a problem with, a mass murder part I do, but all the other parts, why are you pretending to be something you're not? I have a huge problem with that. That's the problem. So he said this, he goes, I have a blind spot for that. I'm like, well, I guess, what can I say to that? You have a blind spot for that. I don't. I can see what you're up to, guys, because you said you're one thing, you're another thing. And you don't have to be smart. I'm not very smart. It took me 20 years for it to dawn on me a lot of stuff that should have dawned on me right then, such as at 9/11 when we went to Iraq and I was like, shut up, we have to go. Couldn't, trauma mind control.
You have to be smart to do this kind of work because someone is constantly putting a smoke screen in front of your face and you have to reference things that you know for sure in order to break those things down.
Well, that's ADHD for me. I have
Okay.
I don't even call it that. I don't think it's a deficit or something. I just don't want to be bored. And when people, we used to go to Kingdom Hall, right? There's 3 meetings a week. I'd be so bored I'd read the Bible.
Yes.
Imagine being so bored you just read the Bible. Like, what am I, a pilgrim? And so, but I appreciate it now a lot because I don't have to be that smart.
So what you're
You have
talking about
discernment.
is your Jehovah's Witness upbringing. So we had to go Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and then you were supposed to go and proselytize on the weekends or in any of your, free time. They put their kids a lot in homeschool so that you could do more proselytizing and not have to face the pressures of the world. I did not go to homeschool.
I used
See what I like, Kurt Metzger? Looks like I've got a intellectual twin brother from some other mother, from some other place and time. I'm going to do this in a few parts. It's like hour and 18 minutes. It can take me days just to get it to upload. I tell you why I have that problem with some things. And then other things it's like, no worries. And it uploads in minutes. It's weird. Of same length. Yeah, I'm not going there. And I always play with our transmission. That fuck off. Maybe you just got in a bad spot, mate. You've got a bad connection.